The topic of today is outlook for CBD products in EU's food and beverage industry. I was very happy that you asked me exactly to speak about this topic when you asked me, but when I prepared about this topic, I actually figured out how few I can say because it's a prospect, it's an outlook, it's something that has to come, not next year, not the year after, but maybe in 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 years. Well, the same as Peter, I'm German, so I'm not funny. I have an agenda. Introduction, market trends, then I want to speak how can you differentiate in the food sector and what can be Becanex as a partner for you. I'm not coming from the medical part, so I speak something totally different than everything else you heard in the afternoon. We differentiate between medical hemp, recreational hemp, and industrial hemp. We do source our biomass from European farmers freely to be cultivated on any farm in the European Union. You can use either the fibers or the seeds or flowers and leaves. And as we do extraction, of course, we use flowers and leaves. Customers on the other side is the food beverage industry mainly. This was our goal when we started the company in 2018, before they introduced cannabinoids on the novel food list. And today our main focus is the cosmetic and sanitary products. I don't speak about cosmetics, it was already covered today, so I will focus on what is possible in food and beverages. We divide this whole supply chain in the food market in 4 big sectors. It's the biomass and the sales. Biomass is our only raw ingredient, so it's extremely important for us. But we don't do cultivation, we don't do breeding, we just buy biomass from our contracted farmers. And we are not good in branding, we're not good in marketing, we don't do any B2C sales. We have a small brand in Berlin, like we cover the weekly markets. On Saturday, we are standing on 7 different markets in Berlin to get feedback from our customers, to also try new products. This is market research for us, but we concentrate on the technological part, so that's production. Here we're good in, we are now a stable production company, and the next thing what we see is we have to offer services if we want to be a key player or a player in the market in the future. So services will be the big next investment for us in the future. So what can we offer? Exactly this. Our extract, which is different to all the other extracts on the European market, plus customization. And customization means everything that you want. Like it depends on the oil, on the concentration, where you want to have it in, which is your product. And it gets more and more sophisticated once the bigger players of food and beverage industry are coming into the market. Something about Becanex. I met my co-founder Eral in 2018. It was in October. Like we both have an office in Wageningen. That's the leading university for food processing in the world. Very strong in research. He did research on new extraction methods since 2013. Did also some trials in 2014 with some bedrock material. Very good results, but he didn't know what to do with it. CBD was in that time not a big issue. Also, the medicinal cannabis sector was not very well developed. So he put aside the results. He did extraction of many other herbals. I did start in 2012 cultivation of hemp. Started with 20 hectares to see how it works, then 110, 350, 500 hectares. Put that part aside and started like a processing factory for hemp seeds to process or to produce hemp protein powder, hemp seed oil, and hemp hearts. When he came first to me, he said, okay, there's something going on. I have a new extraction method, like it's a new technology. I have like a lab scale device, and I would like to show that this is also working in industrial scale. So we have an industry with lots of insecureness. We have like a production process with lots of insecureness, and we had legislation which was insecure in that moment. And it was 3 times something which was very insecure, and it was 1 time too much for me, so I said, not right now, I do something different. But once you start thinking about the CBD industry and all the things that you could do there, and it was really not developed in that moment, you think, well, maybe it's also a chance. So we sold everything else we did in the hemp sector until then. In April 2018, we met again, and it took us 90 minutes to say, okay, we don't buy anything from you, we don't develop something together, but we set up a company together, and we see that we become a leading supplier of cannabinoids and terpenes on the European market. In September 2018, we founded the company in the Netherlands. In January 2019 in Germany, that has a legal background. In the Netherlands, you're not allowed to harvest biomass. You're not allowed to extract from industrial hemp, but you're allowed to sell in supermarkets. At least it's tolerated. In Germany, it's vice versa. You're allowed to harvest the biomass. You're allowed to extract the biomass, but you're not allowed to sell in the food sector in supermarkets. So the combination seemed quite good, but also the truth is Errol is from Wageningen, he lives there, and we still wanted to make use of the knowledge of the university while I was from Berlin, and my network is in Berlin in the food sector, and of course we also want to make use of that. Today we are about a little more than 40 persons. We run 24/7 in the production units, so like big waste amount of people is really working in the production. We only have 3 persons in sales, so we're really a production and R&D company, but R&D is for us really important to be also important in the future. We are, according to our knowledge, the first company in Germany which is focused on extraction of cannabinoids and terpenes from industrial hemp, and according to our knowledge, we are also currently the only one. Yeah, call me wrong, like if someone knows that someone else is here, but as far as we know, we are the only one. There's one big company in the south who does hop extraction, and everything else that is extracted in Germany normally should be extracted at that company. Market trends. I keep it very shortly here. For the food and beverage industry, at the moment, we also include like the tinctures, and the tinctures is the main product on the market. The market is increasing. The figures depends who you ask. Some of the other speakers already said that. We estimated 450 million euro, about 1/3 of the global market. And most important, the repurchase rates of products from our customers and of course from the end consumers from our customers is increasing strongly. And that means that also growth rates, I don't know if 400% over the years, year by year would be realistic, but 400% over the next 2 or 3 years, I do think, at least in our sector, is absolutely possible. Another survey from 2019, but I don't think the figures changed much. At least you can see those figures back in our turnover increasement, is the changes in CBD spending of consumers, what they predict. And there was about 40% increase of like a projected increase in sales or like in willingness to buy CBD products over the next 6 months. And this in the food and beverage industry, where we speak about very low margins and very low turnover rates, like when you speak about increasing turnover rates, these are tremendous figures. And this is why cannabinoids and terpenes are a real big issue to the food and beverage market in the European Union. This figure, or like this table, is actually all I needed to see when we said, do we want to dig into the market, yes or no? Concerns about CBD products also survived from 2019. 3/4 of the people said, I have concerns about the quality. 70% said, I have concerns about contaminants, and 2/3 said they have concerns about the taste. Any food or beverage on the market with these figures would be off the shelf tonight. But on the other side, we see that these concerns do not affect which brand to choose. People say, it does not matter that I have these concerns, I still keep buying the product. And when you relate these figures to the product, you can only figure out one thing: there has to be a tremendous effect or benefit for the consumers. Otherwise, they would not step over all these concerns. %59 were asking about the legal status. And the legal status is, of course, if we spoke about the bright side, there's also like what we call the challenge, and that's a regulation. In the food industry, we speak since January 2019 about novel food. Is any one of you working in the food and beverage industry? Do you know what is novel food? Yes, novel food, you know, okay. Any product that was brought to the market of the European Union after 15th of May 1997 is a novel food. Most likely, you know, chia seeds, you know, sativa, you know, the sugar. Yeah, good. Some more. Goji beans, yeah. Stevia I wanted to refer to, sorry, stevia. So the European Union saw, and this is our interpretation, there's a big demand and there's a big increase in sales. So let's do something with this. And they didn't know really how to handle it. So our interpretation was, okay, we call out cannabinoids novel food. And with novel food, we somehow see how we can regulate that issue later. So the first entry was in October 2018. Yeah, 2018. And it was said like any product that contains a higher CBD concentration than the plant is novel. That was for us great because it somehow protected the European market from American or Canadian imports. But 3 months later already, like there came a new entry, and the new entry said all cannabinoids are novel food. And when you just invested into a new facility, just closed a new 5-year rental contract, if you just like invested in a new machine, and then someone says, okay, like whatever you do there, it's definitely not marketable. You breathe twice and you think like what to do and what is the rest of the market doing. And I think that happened to all of us because the market was standing still. Like instead of acting directly, there was a discussion. Is it a novel food, yes or not? Especially AYA and members of AYA said it's not a novel food, it's a traditional food. There were some discussions, but sooner or later, like the market figured out, EFSA always is sitting on the longer end. If they consider cannabinoids to be novel food, that's how you have to handle it. AYA is also now like preparing a novel food application, a consortium with lots of members, and they also include a huge study how THC in food products have effects on human bodies, so to increase the THC levels in products that will be marketed as food and beverages. We ourselves also handed in a novel food application once in the UK in February, once in Brussels in May, because we have a slightly different process. So we participate in the one, but also for our products, we handed in a second one. What does it mean? In the end, there's, according to the German Federal Ministry, no marketable product that contains cannabinoids in Germany. But different countries, different legislations. So like the same product that I'm not allowed to sell in Bavaria, in Berlin. I come from Berlin, Friedrichshain, which is like the quite central part. I would say in the 3 streets from my house to like where we have a small office, there are about 40 shops selling CBD products, 40. And one you can even buy a burger with CBD. So whenever we speak about like it's not legal, somehow there seems to be a way that you can market it. Well, the way behind is, of course, like people sell CBD as cosmetics. That's why the cosmetic industry has such a boom. But some also try to sell it as flavor and some just sell it as CBD without knowing the legislation. But this is important for the maturity of the industry. As long as it stays somehow in the gray area, somehow like not really legal, the big food and beverage industry will not enter. This is partly true because they somehow already entered. Like when we have discussions in the first year, it was mainly with brands. Like I want to set up a CBD brand. I need an extract. Can you deliver me the CBD oil? Today, mainly discussions are, okay, the CEO is not here, but the COO is here and then the marketing guys are here. Let us see if we can build some brand, not under the main roof, but we set up a new company and let's put something to the market. Just to not be number 3 or 4 in the market, we want to be number 1 and 2. And if there is an opening in 2 or 3 years, we already want to be in that time prepared. And that's why we start today. So we predict that a couple of the big companies, which you knew from food, beverage, but also from OTC product, will launch brands already in the next couple of months. The market development in Europe is limited on one factor, which is very often overseen, and that's THC, which is allowed in biomass. It's a limiting factor, and it's also like a disadvantage for us as Europeans. Fortunately, it's already on the agenda of politicians, and we hope that it will be changed. We can only buy, as a German company, biomass with lower than 0.2% THC. Normally, in industrial hemp, you have a ratio of 1 to 30, 1 to 35. So that would mean 0.2 times 30, 35, you only can buy up to 5 till 6% CBD biomass. And then you have to have some legal limit. Otherwise, you get like some introduction from border control that what you did there is not totally correct. So like we are somewhat limited with our biomass with 3 or 4%. And if I look to our fellows in Switzerland, or like if I look to the companies in the States or in Canada, where you can start with 10, 15, or 18% CBD concentration, well, economy of scale, I don't have to even start like any discussion. There will always be cheaper off when it comes to production costs. And production costs matter in an industry like food and beverages. So how is the industry today? Almost all sales are summarized in oil drops tinctures because of legalization. If you have to market a product which actually is a food supplement as a cosmetic, and a cosmetic like you can only like as a mouthwash water, so like you put it in your mouth, you leave it there for 10 minutes, and then you have to take some water and take it out again. Like you cannot market it properly. There's almost no other product where you can put in your hemp extract to market it as a cosmetic. So this is like currently like the status. Some companies start with pills and capsules, and we forecast that especially pills and capsules will have a much bigger market share in the next 2 years. Now, like we think like one step ahead. We think that the novel food application will be positively decided on, so we can freely market cannabinoids. Where will the trend go to? It will go, from our point of view, to functional food. So the tinctures will be less, but the customers will ask for other applications to use cannabinoids. And why is this? Because first of all, it's a psychology of consumers. What we see is like whenever they have like a small bottle with a tincture, it already gives them the impression that there's a defect that they have. Yeah, but if they eat a cookie with some cannabinoids in, then they don't have that feeling. The second is the amount of joy. Like normally, like Red Bull is promoting its product. Like in the evening, you want to go out, you want to drink, like you want to party, of higher, faster. This is Red Bull. But for cannabis, it's exactly the opposite. You come home from a long working day, you want to relax. And instead of smoking, instead of drinking a beer or wine, people want to sit together. And we do also predict that especially like drinks with CBD will have a tremendous amount of the total market share. And then habits. So in which moments do you really take cannabinoids? It's mainly like in stress or pain moments. And like a big consumer group of cannabinoids are women. And they're like, if you think to certain moments, it's like when they have menstruation pain. In that moment, like people tend to eat, and they eat mostly like some sweets, some chocolate. So we also predict that this is one of the big markets with growth. And of course, chewing gums. It's a very easy way of taking cannabinoids, and it's a good way to put them into your body system. We also see that the market will split actually into 3 main groups. It will be what we call the claim companies. And the claim companies are companies that put 1 milligram or 2 of CBD into the product to have the claim, including CBD. We see that there's the functional food market, so companies that really do see like how can be an effect for the customers, how can be their benefit. Biohacking is something big in that area. And the third one will be like a topic company. A topic company means like you address a certain topic, like you fly, you need something like for your anxiety while you're flying, or like for menstruation again. So like you really concentrate with your brand on a certain topic. So we believe that the market as today, that they're like purely CBD brands. As Finn said before, something just building around one plant will not survive, but it will go towards topics. But the biggest challenge of all is that we have to deal with an advice about the dosages. And we cannot give advices on dosages. And it's difficult to give advices on dosages because everybody is different. And I think and you're all from the medicinal part, you know that much better than we in the food sector. People, when we are on the market, the first thing they ask is, how much do I have to take to get the benefit, to get the effect? And if we don't find a good solution, like a good answer to this question, this will be a limit to the whole food and beverage market. The customer, considering the price, considering the hype around CBD, they want to see a benefit. Otherwise, they don't buy the product again. And this is a difference to many other products on the market. We look very positive in the future. Novel food, for us, of course, it's a limitation. It's a long-term limitation, as it seems. Very often we speak about that we are not as accepted as other industries. But looking back, what happened the last 2 or 3 years in the cannabis industry, I think there's also a moment where we should just stand still and be very proud of what we reached. There's no substantial aid, there's no grants from the government, and still we set up like a multi-billion-dollar industry when it comes to food, when it comes to medicine, and I don't see so many other like product categories or industry where that was possible in such a short time. There's more transparency in the market, the quality is increasing, the applications are increasing, and all this actually like from people who started with zero, as most of the products have not been in the market 3 or 4 years ago. So if you see this power of innovation in such a short period gathering together, and if you continue like with the same like power and in the same like stream of exchange of possibilities, then I do think that the growth rates that were predicted, the positive ones, at least in the food and beverage market, can be met. Good. But how to differentiate? If you speak about CBD, CBD is a molecule. It can be produced synthetically, it can be produced naturally. So how can you actually differentiate if you want to be on the market? And differentiation is actually like one step before. It's about like, what do you want to put into your product? Is it an isolate? Is it a full spectrum extract or a broad spectrum extract? So while there's an isolate, I guess you will not get the entourage effect, but the entourage effect is a thing. People who are looking for cannabinoid products have read about the entourage effect. They want to see, they want to feel somehow this entourage effect. Whoever will put isolates in their products will surely be less successful, and it's one of the companies that we call claim companies. Who's going to be successful are the ones who will either use a full spectrum or a broad spectrum, and if they make the choice, normally companies would like the full spectrum, but very often are legal restrictions that makes them choose for the broad spectrum product. And there it depends a lot on the processing, how you processed, how you produce the product, how strong the entourage effect is still in the broad spectrum product. But that's not only like what you choose, it's not only full or broad spectrum or isolate, it's also the region. One of the speakers before said, the trend is to natural product, and that's true. Like when you look in Berlin, it's all about natural product. It's about track and trace. Where comes the product from? People want to know, like, yeah, okay. The third thing is about customer experience, and this is pricing. Like how many milligram of cannabinoids are you going to put in the product? Is it 10 milligram? Is it 20? Is it 50? Is there an effect? Yes or no? Here, surely you can differentiate. Then the environment. We all think that we are working in a very sustainable environment, industry, because hemp is a sustainable plant. That's very true until the moment that the harvester goes into the field. But from there, until the product is at the consumer side, there are lots of steps in between. And the consumers more and more want to know what is happening from the moment that the harvest takes place until the product is at my place. So is this production really sustainable? How much of output of solvents, how much solvents are remaining in the production? How much energy, like extraction is an energy intensive step. So how much of energy do you use? Where is the energy coming from? Those questions will be asked in the next 3 or 4 years. And the last point, compliance. Is it all legal? Because there are some solvents which are legal overseas in the United States and in Canada, but at least they are not legal to be used in food and beverages. When we speak about pentan or hexan, those are not ingredients or like solvents which you are allowed to use in the European food and beverage sector. And today, most market players do not know about this, but once the bigger players step into the market, they will surely track back where the product is coming from and how it was produced. Okay. how is the product development taking place? The challenge for us is the industry changed. And with industry change, it means before we could just like produce a tincture and give it further. Today it is that the company comes to us and say, this is my cookie, this is my chocolate. Come to our facility, I show you which are our machinery, how we can fill it, which are the applications that we can use. And then explain us afterwards how your extract can fit into our production. And this means like our company, our mindset in the company had to change totally. And we have lots of food processing technologists in the company to answer exactly these questions. So like we are not just a company that will send an ingredient somewhere, but the request of the industry is show me the end product that I can sell and develop it together with me. Packaging is an important issue then. Safety, of course, we don't want that cannabinoids go into the hands of children. Somewhere it has to be like a possibility of locking it down. And of course, you also want to preserve the ingredients. Processes are sometimes like with high temperature, with low pressure, with temperature, with pressures. So how do we make sure that the cannabinoids stay as they have been at our place? And for all this, you need still specialized suppliers, and this is why we think that companies like ours, an extraction company, is also relevant in 3, 4, 5, or 6 years. And market participants will not just go to the big ones like DSM, Symrise, or Döhler. So, getting ready for the future. Maybe shortly, who are we? Like, what do? We have a one-step extraction. This is our IP. In short terms, it's like coffee or tea. You put in the biomass, you push a button, the extract is coming out, and it's ready to be sold or consumed. There's no post-extraction steps. We don't use any solvents, no cleaning, no winterization. We have like the good or the bad thing. Our solvent is not very good, so we do not extract any chlorophyll and no waxes. That means we have a product which has a very mild taste. It's a very natural product. It has a more broad spectrum than any other product on the market. And yeah, it's a very stable process, and stability in food processing is important. This is like a design, or like this is a chart of our extract. We have about, depending on the biomass, 70 to 75% of CBD in our extract. Then some other cannabinoids, which you see on the right side, THC, CBC, CBN, CBG. In short terms, what's in the biomass is in the extract. Like we preserve the cannabinoids and the terpenes. And that makes our extract different from the extract which are made by supercritical CO2 extraction. So I jump a little. How do we define extraction? The quality, it's a benefit. If you want to buy an extract, there has to be a benefit for the customer. It is, when you speak about food and beverage, about the taste. And food safety, or like production safety, is not a selling argument. It's a precondition. It's prerequisite. So this is a broad range of things that we can offer. And I just want to step to the last one more minute, where we're heading to. We will increase our capacity with 15 times by end of next year. So that would mean roughly 1.5 tons of extract a month. We have 2 projects going on. We got funded by as well the German Ministry for Economic Affairs for a THC-free hemp extract emulsion. As far as we know, at least in the European Union, it does not exist. All emulsions for beverages and cosmetics are based on isolates, but not on full spectrum extracts. And the second product where we got funded from the city of Berlin as the first cannabis company, which was funded by the city, we are developing hemp-derived terpenes for cannabinoid-free food and beverage applications. And we have already like a couple of cooperations with bigger companies who say this is a product which we will use to enter the market before cannabinoids are coming. So like one of the last trends that I see is that terpene products will enter the market very fast, I would say like by beginning of next year. And of course, our technology can also be used in the medical sector, and we are in advanced discussion with the company to also use our technology in this sector. That's our team before Corona. Afterwards, we were not allowed to make pictures anymore. Now it's double the amount. And if someone says that you have a product which is different than other ones, you have to prove it. Please send me an email. You get a sample for free. just to verify what I said today is, yeah, close to the truth. Thank you.